Hello, everyone. I am so excited to talk with you for a little while about the power of the three-way call and why we all, myself included, need to crave the three-way call, as Romy says. Really excited because Romy's book in the chapter called How I Talked My Way into a Seven-Figure Income is really just so hands-on, so many practical tips. And if you're on my Browns Ballers team, you can find an actual file in the files of our Facebook team page, real life examples of reach out language Romy talks about in this chapter. So if you have the book, you may need to make sure you read this chapter in full. Everyone should have the book. Everyone should be reading it. It's so important as you're following along with this class. But one thing that I really love is that she starts with talking about how we should be talking to people. If you know Romy, and then therefore if you know me, because I ascribe to Romy's training through and through, you know that her thing is we should be talking all the time to everyone with skin. Because when we stop talking, our business is closed. So she gives a lot of really practical tips that I'm not going to go into detail on this video about how to reach out to people, how to prospect. And she talks a lot about making sure that you're reaching out and keeping it simple, not overloading people with information, not bombarding them. If you realize you're starting to have to convince them, move on, go to the next person. And also that you're focusing on what's in it for them. If I've learned anything in my 3.5 years of doing this business, I know for a fact that prospecting is not about me. It's tempting to make it about, I want you to join my team, help me grow my team. But it's really not about that. Nobody cares about your team when they're not already on your team. When you're trying to get them on your team, it's about them. Helping them see the vision of what this business can do for them in their life. Helping paint a picture for them of what it could look like for them to do this business, right? And have their own business with Rodan and Fields. So it starts with reaching out. We can't ask for three-way calls. We can't find prospects that are going to be willing to hop on a three-way call unless we're reaching out. Now, if you're doing all of those things, if you're genuinely connecting with people, if you're being authentic and real in how you share the business and how you relate to people and how you talk with people and have conversations with people with skin, you should be getting some interest and traction. And if you're not, let's stop right there and go back and talk about some of the other trainings we've done leading up to this one. But for now, if you're getting some interest and you're wondering, what do I do next? Let's think about how you've reached out. So once someone said, yes, I'd love to hear more about Rodan and Fields, that's one of my most common reach outs. It's just, have you heard of Rodan and Fields? And if they say, no, I haven't, I'd love to tell you about it if you're interested. Sure. Okay, share a brief overview. We're the #1 prestige skincare company in North America. That's awesome. Tell a little bit about your short story. I started the business 3 years ago because I wanted to make $500 extra for my family. That came true in the first few months. Then I decided I wanted something more out of it, and so I kept working my business, and a year later, I had replaced my teaching salary and was able to start staying home with my son. That's mine. Insert yours. You should know your short story, 30 seconds to a minute. Then, after that, so really it's brief, a little overview of your company and your products, a little overview of your personal short story with Rodan and Fields, and then something like this. Are you intrigued enough to want to know more? I love that. Really simple, really straightforward. Are you intrigued enough to want to know more? If they say yes, that is where you look at your calendar. Does your team, whether locally or your team, your bigger team on Facebook, is there a virtual event or a local event you can invite them to in the next 24 to 48 hours? If there's not, you don't want to wait that long because remember, we're always working from appointment to appointment. 24 to 48 hours with someone who's intrigued to learn more than 24 to 48 hours with someone who is intrigued to learn more is way too much time. That's when we bring in the power of the three-way call. So what you say to them next is, I'm going to send you a few things to look over. That's where you're going to go to our team page or to Pulse, and you're going to find a really great RF blog post to send them that's relevant to their life situation, another success story. Maybe you're going to send them an opportunity video. Maybe you're going to send them one about how we're #1 in skincare. Or maybe even an opportunity call. I think those are a little long and they're getting a little outdated, but some people really may still identify with an opportunity call, and that's something you can send them. And then you're going to say, okay, I'm going to send you some information to look over, and then we're going to set a call. Again, if you can't invite them to an event, we're going to set up a time to talk with my friend. Now, again, I think this is where a lot of us go wrong, is we ask for the three-way call rather than telling people that's just what happens next. Romy talks a lot about this in all of her training. We are the professionals. We are the CEOs. Our prospects don't know what they don't know. If they've never been recruited before or they've never been approached by someone, they don't know the process. We know the process, and we're in control because we're in charge. We're the business owner. So a lot of times I think people get so weirded out by the three-way call, and we ourselves are weirded out to ask for the three-way call because we ask for it instead of just saying this is the next step in the process, right? Because it really is. We should all be craving and doing three-way calls as often as we possibly can because it really is the secret sauce to this business. So if that's something you've been having trouble with, I want you to keep that in mind. But literally her book says, the next step, you say the prospect, the next step is to take a look or listen to more information and then to hop on a call with a biz partner or go to an event. And this is what she says. Here is the key. Don't ask. Tell your prospect what the next steps are. Your prospect isn't in the business. She or he doesn't know how it works or the most efficient way to explore whether it's a good fit. You're the expert. Speak with confidence. Don't ask the prospect if they want to have a conversation with your biz partner. Tell her the next step to help her decide it is a phone conversation with you and your biz partner. Again, we don't call it a three-way call. We never call it a three-way call. Take that out of your vocabulary unless you're talking with me or someone from the team or your sponsor. Romy says, tell her the next step is to help her decide in a phone conversation with you and your biz partner because she should get another team member's perspective, and you know she'll have questions. If you remember the difference between these two, it's going to change the pace of your prospects' decisions and moving people through your funnel. Remember, don't ask them if they want to get on a call. Tell them that's what's next in the process. So, it's great to have a pivot statement, she says. These are great questions that you have, and it definitely sounds like you want more information. So let me tell you what we're going to do next. Set up the call. Easy peasy. So you should really believe in the power of the three-way call. Remember, call it a phone chat or a conversation, not a three-way call. Why are these important? Why do I harp on them? Why do so many leaders harp on them? These are the reasons why, Romy says. They provide compelling third-party legitimization to this opportunity. They allow your upline to train you on how to handle objections and bring a prospect to a close. That is huge. You guys, we all need training. Closing is a hard skill. Most people, Rodan & Field says 9 of 10 consultants do not have the ability to close on their own. It's okay to need help. That's what the team is here for. That's what I'm here for. That's what your sponsor is here for and your other leaders. So please use them. They also move a prospect through your funnel more efficiently and more quickly. So, as far as how to set them up, again, we're gonna stop asking for them. We're just gonna say this is what's next in the process. You're also gonna want to qualify the three-way call. This is also where people go wrong. So I have people on a team that are really good about doing this, and I love it when it's sent via text message. That way I can go back through the text a few minutes before the call and remind myself who I'm getting on the phone with. So I had this happen to me last night, actually. Someone on one of my direct business partners sent me this great text, and it just said her name, where she lives, how she knows her, what her profession is, what she's done in the past, why she thinks she'd be good at the business, why she's interested in the business. Is she driven? Is she hardworking? Strengths that the person has, objections they've already raised. You want to qualify the call to your upline or the leader that's doing the call for you or sideline partner because they need information going in of how they're going to direct the information that they share and even how they present their story, okay? So in the flow of the call, the person who brings the three-way call, so let's say this direct of mine, she brought me the call. She did a short introduction at the beginning. She said, this is my business sponsor, Susan. We know each other from blank. I think my friend Julia would be great at the business because blank. She would love this business because it would help her family get out of debt. So what's in it for them? Again, you start with that even in the introduction of your prospect. Then I'm going to tell my story, right? The sponsor upline tells your story. Then the other person, so the person who brought the three-way call, shuts up. And I was terrible about this in the beginning, y'all. I used to jump in and interrupt on three-way calls until I got called out out about it by someone on my upline, and I was so embarrassed. But you're not supposed to talk. If you're the person bringing a prospect to a three-way call, you do the introduction, and then you are quiet and listening. So again, the person on the call should be identifying. We're really focusing more on y'all getting people on call, so I'm not going to go into as much detail, but the person on the other line has to be really good about asking your prospect questions after they tell their short story. How close are you? What questions do you have? How close are you? This business seems like it'd be a good fit for you. How close are you on a scale of 1 to 10? That's one of my favorite questions. And then how can we move you closer to a 9 to 10? What information do you still need? These are some reasons why the three-way calls go bad. They run too long. They should be no more than 15 to 20 minutes. Your business partner doesn't set up the call correctly. Again, they really need to be qualified calls. The sponsor, the person doing the call, should be doing some really good fact-finding by asking questions. And then we should be guiding them towards a decision. The whole point is to help, ideally on the call, the prospect to make a decision of what's next, and hopefully that's signing up and starting their business. So let's all work really hard at becoming masters of the three-way calls. Are you in?